At this point, I am going to take, if you have some general questions about some of this information. I know I went over it quickly and there's a lot to digest. That's why I was saying, if you wait, take a look at the website, at the application materials and some of the information that I have posted there. And then also wait, if you want to go over this a little bit, the video will be up there shortly. I will take a few general questions about the changes and questions for the principals regarding what this looks like at their site. You can, when we adjourn here, they will be in the foyer area in the front, and they're very pleased to be able to talk to you personally there. Okay. Yes.
I have a child who's currently in the Self-Contained Gifted Elementary program. Do I need to download the contracts, or is that going to be handed out?
Thank you. Very good question. I'm going to, the teachers will, the current self-contained teachers and the DLC teachers will provide that to you by the end of the year. Remember, this takes place for next year, the contract on probationary period for that. So we will get that out to you. We will send those home to you through the school if you are an existing student in a self-contained program. Anyone new into the program does need to go ahead. It's just part of the whole package there.
I have two questions. First of all, is the DLC self-contained as well? And secondly, do you need to reapply after you went through elementary self-contained to the DLC?
Good questions. The question was, is the DLC a self-contained program, and must students in the self-contained program reapply for the Digital Learning Center? Yes to both. The Digital Learning Center is a semi-self-contained because they are half of the day in the Digital Learning Center. But the other half of the day, the kids are working at whatever math level they're at, many of them at the high school level. They also work with the same writing teacher, who is the honors teacher, who happens to be the gifted liaison for the school. And so really, they're kind of by de facto, they pretty much stay together most of the time. The only time they're going to be separated mainly is for their electives, and if they're at drastically different levels in math. Is that fair? Okay. And yes, we do need to reapply because they're two different programs. Different criteria as well. All the kids that qualify for the self-contained would qualify for the Digital Learning Center, but the Digital Learning Center also accepts kids that the self-contained wouldn't accept. Okay, just slightly different criteria.
What are the program at the DLC?
The Digital Learning Center has caps at 30 students for each class. So there's an AM and a PM for 7th grade, an AM and a PM for 8th grade. So there are 120 kids. This year we had 25 in each class, and based on high demand and increased class sizes all around the district, we did go to cap at 30.
If a child goes into the self-contained class and ends up not being a good fit, will there automatically be a spot for them in the cluster?
Yes. If the question was, if the self-contained, if you determine that it really wasn't the best fit, will there automatically be a space in the cluster classroom and or in the honors classes? And yes, there will be, because we keep taking open enrollment, and we really want your smart kids in our schools.
Students who are currently in the 7th grade DLC will sign contracts next year.
Correct.
They are already accepted into the program. Do we need to fill out applications and registrations?
Okay, the question was for the current 7th grade students who are intending to go into 8th grade, will they need to fill out new applications? No. In the presentation, once you see it online, again, you'll see the addresses that anyone currently in the program automatically goes into the next grade. That's it. The only difference is that they will need to sign the contract for success. Yes.
Did you define what the probation period is, and if the
the child violates the probationary period?
Okay, that is all explained really well on the contract, which you can take a look at tomorrow. But the first year is probation. After that, we know we're pretty confident this is a good fit. The child needs this program, and we can really be successful in helping this child progress academically. So in a contract, it will outline step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Not make it a step, just different levels of what we need to do to help make sure that that is the best fit. What interventions we can provide, and what the student can work on to see if it's needed. If I've talked to you, I probably have told you, I would never want to put a child in a position where they're unhappy, have anxiety, or where they're not feeling good about themselves. When I talk to parents, and parents say, well, it does this and does this, I don't know, you know what? The kids that need this program, you know it. You as parents know it.
What's the difference between the uniquely gifted program versus the self-contained program? I mean, you said the uniquely gifted were 1:6 ratio, and
The question was, what's the difference between self-contained and uniquely gifted? They're both self-contained programs in essence, but the uniquely gifted program is for students who have an IEP for special ed, so they qualify for special ed services, and gifted identification. And what the beautiful part about that program is, since it's staffed by special ed, they follow guidelines of special ed programs. So they have tiny class sizes, a lot of individualized attention. Students work at their own pace, but we focus on the areas of strength, as opposed to how some self-contained programs work. So it's a beautiful thing for the children who can get in there and who need it.
You touched on like kindergartners who are going to be applying into the first grade, and we talk about their writing ability. I now have someone who's in the third grade that's in the program, but his, the sentence structure and all of that hasn't necessarily been taught. Even though they're working 2 years above, they can read and they can do all those things, but they don't understand what's an adjective and
The question was about the writing when I emphasized how important it is in the writing. Teachers can correct me if I'm mistaken here, but this is really the biggest issue is in K1, is in first grade, because sometimes these kids are just lost if they can't, write. They should be able to write, complete sentences in a paragraph by the time they're in that class. It doesn't mean that they know all the grammatical structure. They can't diagram a sentence. I'm not talking about that for young kiddos. But we will work. If a child is working at a very advanced level, we most certainly will work with that student to help strengthen some of their writing skills.
Has there been any discussion of developing programs in this vein at the high school level?
Any discussion about developing these types of programs at the high school level? There most certainly have been discussions, and there's actually plans underway. We don't have starting for next school year, but we are looking at, I'm working with Dr. Sweeney, who is my boss, Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Schools, and we are always strengthening our programs. For example, in the fall, you'll see this on our website, we now have a complete comprehensive spectrum of PB online honors classes. These are honors and AP classes that kids can take online. Say, for example, they're in the IB program and they need an AP government, but it's not fitting in with their schedule because of some other classes. So they can take these at the site. They can take them at home. We also have a hybrid online telepresence course for teaching for Mandarin starting in the fall. Most of the kids that are enrolled in that already have been in our self-contained programs or are identified as gifted. We're going to continue to expand upon those types of programs. Of course, a lot of our kids matriculate into CREST, which is Center for Research Engineering, the whole STEM program. There's a fantastic STEM program here at Horizon High School. Many of your kids have traditionally come here to Horizon, and they're implementing some new programs as well that are highly attractive to gifted kids. So I would recommend taking a look at their website so you can see Dr. Corson has some very innovative coursework and structure to this day that he is starting, and it is geared toward highly able kids.
What would be the student-to-teacher ratio in the next year? What would be the teacher-to-student ratio in the next year? Teacher-student ratio.
Oh, okay, thank you. This teacher-student ratio for the classes. In the primary classes, it's 20 students in each class. And in grades 3 through 6, it's 25. So what about the 3-4 at Desert Cove next year? We will have to wait and see, but I anticipate that being no more than 20 as well.
I hear that at Desert Cove we're trying to combine the grade levels, whereas at Sonaran Sky we're not, it's for the individual grade level. So is that going to impact the curriculum of the self-contained program as such?
Okay, good question. The question was, we have multi-age classrooms at combination classrooms at Desert Cove, and we no longer have them over at Soaring Sky. We used to have more multi-age classrooms. As soon as we fill them up, we will break them out. So we will eventually have a 1, a 2, 3. We will eventually have those as long as we can have the space for it. The reason we didn't break out the 1, 2 at Snow and Sky right now is because we just didn't have the space. But they got really creative and they found space. So, but how does that impact the curriculum? The teachers plan together. Mrs. Bensing, the 1-2 teacher, and Ms. Flores, the 1-2 teacher at Desert Cove, plan together. We do our training together, our professional development together. But it's always going to look somewhat different because we're all different as teachers. But the curriculum is the same or is very similar. And I just anticipate it getting better every year. I say that only because the years that I have been here, it keeps improving. And a lot of it is because of you. You bring your really smart kids to us and you challenge us, and we have to keep growing and learning and developing new curriculum, new opportunities for them. So we will continue.
Making the means for the kids to come over from Snow and Sky to Desert Cove. If there's a 12-person waiting list, why is there a small bus driving them back and forth?
Okay, that's probably, okay, the question was, if there's a waiting list at Snow and Sky, why not move them over? We have invited that. Many of the kids that go to Snow and Sky are from Cave Creek and North Scottsdale, many of them, and outlying districts further out. So that's the logistics, the families, and we do not provide transportation to our self-contained. Unfortunately, I wish we could. It's very costly, especially when we have kids coming from Goodyear to Mesa. It would be almost impossible to structure that. So that is my intent, that's my goal, that's what I try to do, and I try to continue to try to do that. Okay, I think I've addressed most of the major questions here. Is there one more? Okay.
Until now, the testing qualifications qualify either with the IQ score or through the percentages. Has that changed for next year?
That has not changed. The question was, is it changed whether we have to have an IQ or one of our district administered test, cognitive abilities test? That has not changed. I do have to tell you about, 95% of the kids that come into this program are tested with an IQ test. IQ test gives a lot of information that an ability test can't give us. Ability test can give us a score. However, we cannot provide IQ tests. So if a parent really does need to know a little bit more, wants to know more, a better picture, then that's when I recommend an IQ test. But you do not need it for the program. We can get qualified kids on our own district tests. Okay, I am going to conclude, but I'm going to stick around. The principals and some of the self-contained teachers will be here as well, and they will be over in the foyer lobby area. Any questions particular to the school, please go ahead and visit with them. And if you please wait until you go through the applications and all the forms that are going to be there, because that's going to answer some more of the ambiguity that might be resting in your minds right now. Thank you again for coming out this evening and for supporting gifted education in Paradise Valley.